Hey guys, how you going? This is BillyEatWorld, and today we're going to take a quick look at attachments post the recent spring patch. I think a lot of people have overlooked the attachment changes because of all the weapon changes in the patch, so in this video we're going to go through all of the changes in more detail. DICE have basically introduced a whole bunch of negative effects to some of the attachments, and this has made running guns bare a more viable option. Whether or not you should keep running with your favourite setup though is really going to depend on a lot of different factors, so hopefully this video will make things a little bit less confusing. Now, the biggest changes to attachments in the recent patch has been to the grips and the flash hider, which previously had no penalties at all. All of these attachments now add a penalty to spread decrease, which basically increases the time it takes for your spread to return to normal. This isn't a huge issue, but it does affect the accuracy of burst fire, and with both a grip and a barrel attachment, this penalty does add up. As long as you bear this in mind though, you should be able to adapt your setup, but it does mean that certain weapons are now going to be less effective than they once were. Trying to analyse every single weapon isn't exactly possible in this video, but as a general rule, weapons that have a high spread increase to begin with are going to be affected the most. Also, like I said before, weapons that you tend to burst are also going to be affected, which basically includes anything with a mid to high rate of fire. In addition to the attachment penalty, a lot of guns have also got a nerf to base spread decrease, so you might want to avoid making the problem worse on these particular guns. Sometimes it does still make sense to run with certain attachments regardless of the penalty though, so let's take a look at all the attachments one by one and see how they've changed. Now, to kick off, as always, the heavy barrel improves base ADS spread at the expense of an increased vertical recoil, but has no new penalties to speak of. A lot of the time, the heavy barrel tends to get paired with the angled and the folding grips though, which now don't improve vertical kick as much and also add the penalty to spread decrease. The stubby and potato grips also now have the same penalty, which kind of works against their primary function, which has been slightly buffed to compensate. The ergo and the vert grips, on the other hand though, are still very useful even with the penalty, because they improve accuracy on the move, which is essential for a run and gun playstyle. Like the heavy barrel, the suppressor also hasn't really changed, with the same effect of keeping you off the minimap at the expense of a slight penalty to hipfire. The flash hider, on the other hand, like I said, now has the spread decrease penalty with no new benefits, so I probably wouldn't even bother using this attachment at all anymore. As for the muzzle brake and the compensator, well, they don't have any new penalties, and the penalty they add to spread increase has actually been slightly reduced. In general, I still don't think either of these attachments are really necessary though, so it's probably best to just work on your recoil control if you find yourself needing them. Now, I should also mention that the laser sight has been slightly buffed, but it's a fairly minor change, so I doubt this will make a huge difference in the long run. There's also been a buff to the shotgun chokes, but I won't get into that because I think we pretty much all know that shotguns are just generally a lot better after the patch. As I said, most of the important changes have been made to the grips and the barrel attachments, and combined with the weapon balancing, this is a pretty big shake-up for the loadout system. If you want to take a look at the full list of weapon and attachment changes, well, it's a bit difficult to understand, but I'll leave a link in the description for anyone who does want to take a look. So, bearing all of this in mind, you should have a pretty good idea by now of how the new penalties are going to change your setups. To recap though, in general, like I said, the flash hider is basically dead now, and you'll also want to be careful of what weapons you put grips on. As a general rule, I probably only use the stubby and potato on low RPM weapons that you don't burst, and the angled and the folding grips on guns that are particularly difficult to control. As for the ergo, the heavy barrel or the suppressor though, you should be pretty safe, and if you're anything like me, this will probably make up 90% of your setups anyway. But anyway guys, that just about wraps up this short video, so let me know what you think in the comment section below, and if you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description below if you want to see more of my videos, or if you'd like to support my channel on Patreon, and until next time, see you later and have a good one.